Hey everybody, and welcome to Authors and Dragons Adventure Adventure Showdeo.
Is that the full actual title of what we're going with?
It is today.
I can dig it. Yeah, sure. The Adventure Showdeo, episode 1DO. I don't know how I'm going to write this on YouTube later, but I'll do, I guess. Oh my god, Andrew is a robot.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
was a robot this whole time.
a blood-splattered robot. I thought it would be fun to try out the old animation face doodad thing. We've talked about doing this for a while, and yeah, I gave it a shot. I made him blood splattered in honor of Metallicazam. For those of you just joining us, and I mean, actually, I guess for everybody on this one because we're doing something new.
Well, different.
Welcome to Adventure Showdeo, where we're going to talk about a show. Dio.
Well, I show you Dio. You've seen us play video games. We were never very good at it. You may have thought that was part of the charm, the endless frustration. But I think we're probably going to be better at watching television than talking about it.
It is most likely the greatest superpower I've ever had. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, the if y'all are familiar with the A&D podcast for a while, you might remember Steve and Bob doing a show called East Infection. Um,
Wonderful title.
yeah, that's really a Bevan title.
Yeah, very much so.
um,
100%.
So we really liked the idea of doing another discussion of shows. If anyone's heard me talk about The Good Place, you know I won't shut the fuck up. And so that's a common passion. And when the TV show, or I guess the anime Mashle, came on last season, and I watched the first episode, truly my first thought was, well, I gotta make Steve watch this. Although in my heart I did say Brandon. I almost said it again.
It is very much a Brandon show.
It
Every,
feels like the first show Brandon Thighmaster would enjoy.
it's worth pointing out that when we were doing East Infection, we were watching, people who listen to the podcast casually may have cottoned on that Bevan does not give a fuck about a lot of things. But one thing he does give a fuck about, oddly enough, is Revolutionary Girl Utena. And we watched the entire series of that weird, very bisexual show. And we'd originally planned to follow up with Baki, which is perhaps the most weirdly violent homoerotic show I've ever seen. Just could not get Bevan interested in it. But Mashle, with its mixture of both magic and muscle, I think is perfect medium for us to go to.
I guess I should probably clarify. We're definitely not going to be watching it on here right now because that would be a massive copyright violation
Yeah.
that we don't own the rights to. So, if you would like to watch Mashle Magic and Muscles, we're going to be talking about the first episode today. You can stream that on Crunchyroll and probably a bunch of other things that I don't know about because that market is super fragmented. But I know it's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. I got on Crunchyroll for the first time. I thought I could watch this with the adverts. Turns out no. No, I can't. I'm now a premium subscriber. I'm not watching like 6 minutes of adverts. It's too short.
Yeah, that would be challenging to put it
It
lightly.
was.
Um, so that is the rundown. We're doing this for July. Steve and I have a bunch of respective travel and whatnot. We've already, as you noticed, missed a few. So we thought this was a good month to test out this new format we've been kicking around. So that is the background explanation for what the hell you're watching this week. Uh,
Surprise.
and so, Steve, let's get your feedback on it because I didn't even let Steve tell me before we started. He just finally watched them, and I'm very curious to see what you thought.
Well, speaking of copyright infringement, Drew, this is a very almost Harry Potter in many ways. It's like, but imagine if Harry Potter and you got drafted into school, somebody says you're a wizard, Harry, and you go to school, you get your wand, and you think, what if I just beat up these dorks instead? What you're left with is Mashle, a tale of magic and muscle, set in a kingdom where if you don't have magic, basically you're exterminated at birth. It's pretty fucking brutal to the Muggles. Um, one such, I guess, teenage boy, standard teenage anime boy, has found a way around it by being supernaturally good at lifting weights. And I gotta say, I found it hilarious and compelling.
It's a very it's an interesting tone medley of a series because you have on one hand a truly sort of brutal hellscape for anyone not born with magic. I mean,
Yeah, doesn't
I
look good for him, no.
I've watched the rest of this series. It does not get nicer on that front. Like, if anything, you'll meet characters who are like, no, 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 just casting out people without magic into banishment is too nice. We got to just purge them at birth. Like, all right, but the general
Banishment's too good for
yeah.
child murder. That's what we need. But it is an anime.
Whereas you know, the style is very light, the dialogue is very fun. It's a very comedic action anime as long as you
Yeah.
don't pay much attention to the world.
I will say that anime is pretty good at that, though. And there's a really good example in the first episode. Anime could just take this ridiculous nonsense and then just suddenly put in something super dramatic and dark and then just snap back to the nonsense like nothing happened. So something I quite enjoy about sort of casual anime format. But speaking of casual anime format, yeah, we're presented almost immediately with a very, very almost copyright infringing Harry Potter world. To the point where I think everyone has English names, which I appreciate because if anyone listened to East Infection, you'll know that I'm borderline racist with my mispronunciation of Japanese names. It's very problematic. I assure you, it's not because I have any disrespect for Japanese culture. It is just I'm not very bright. And we were drinking quite heavily at the time. In this case, they've all got kind of weird English-sounding names, almost like I think if you asked me to just like on the spot make up a Japanese name, I'd probably just say some syllables that sound vaguely like a Japanese name. A lot of these names sound like somebody said, "Quick, make up a British name," and they come up with like a Van Cumblefart or something. It's great.
It does kind of have that smashed together feel.
Yeah, so it's kind of again, I'm watching this with subs. It's not out in dub yet. I'm on the fence with sub and dub. I'm a bit of a switcher, to be honest. But, I was hoping it was going to be dubbed. Because when I watched the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I think it was the closest I've ever felt to experiencing racism with their British accents. So I was praying that they were going to do the same because it's quite obviously they're mocking Harry Potter. They've got weird British names. I was just looking forward to those bizarre, tortured Cockney accents that they did in JoJo, but sadly no dub for this yet. So we'll have to see. Maybe I'll audition. Maybe I should do the dub.
Oh my god.
Oh, or better yet, Bevan.
Well, who is Bevan in your dream casting?
Oh, he's he can't be the main character. The main character's too stoic.
Yeah.
I think Bevan's probably the mentor or the girl character we get in episode 2. But
Having gone a little farther in than you, buddy, I'm gonna pitch the red-haired guy.
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Will be perfect to cast.
But that'll be
Probably
a fun wait. That'll be a fun surprise waiting for you down the line. Just whenever he comes on, picture him in Bevan's voice.
I think I'm just doing that for every character from now on.
Oh no, this show just got so much better.
So we're introduced to this world of magic, and then immediately introduced to this 17-year-old kid just benching impossible weights, impossible speeds, while the wildlife around him just freaks out. And this is Mash Burnhead.
Burn dead or
Dead.
Yeah.
It's again just a weird name. Mash Burndead. He reminded me a little bit of Mob from Mob Psycho. He's very kind of calm, nice. also terrifying. He's the kind of guy who's so super strong that he can't operate a door properly. He just smashes through things. Not in a malicious way. He's a good kid. We learn that about him straight away. Also got a thing for cream puffs. I don't think you can have an anime action hero, like a physical one, doesn't have a weird food they're obsessed with.
I mean, I guess
That's just kind of
in a passing nod to realism, the amount of physical activity these protagonists are doing would burn through a shitload of calories.
yeah.
I mean, look
Yeah.
at Michael Phelps's Olympic diet and assume that MASH is at least doing that much work.
Yeah, so he's got to eat his body weight in cream puffs every day.
It's like the Flash.
It's believable. Well, I say it's believable, but again, I'm coming from. I always like the idea in anime of them saying, like, basically, if you train hard enough, you get superpowers. I think there was a character in Baki who survives like a point blank shotgun blast. Later on, they ask him, well, how do you survive that? He said, well, I eat a wheelbarrow of steak every day. I'm just like, okay, well, that adds up. Anime world, just lift weights, eat ridiculously, you will get superpowers. Wish that was true in real life. But
I mean, have we tried eating
Get
a
hard
wheelbarrow of
as I-
steak and lifting a lot of weights?
well, I've tried, Joe. I got the steak part. So close.
And then I took the giant nap afterward.
Exactly, yeah. Well, fell at the first hurdle. Yeah, so we meet Mash. Bernhead lives out in the woods with his conventional mentor figure, Retro Berndead. Introduces himself as an elegant 75-year-old.
I think we could say father, right? He's filling that role.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of... He's more of a father than Master Roshi was. I
mean, he raises. So we learned that he raised MASH from a baby because he found him, and he was just sort of a general middle of the road fuck up until then.
Yeah, and again to point out how messed up this world is, Retro was nearly driven to suicide because he wasn't that good at magic. So you can only imagine what they do to people who just have no magic at all. Luckily, Retro, before he threw himself off a building, again quite dark, found a tiny magic baby.
Well, a non-magic baby.
Yeah. Not even. Oh, no. See, I don't know how this is going to go because if I found a baby, made it lift weights for 16 years, get a relatively strong human, I'd probably get some sort of, child services visit. But you'd get a strong human. I don't think forcing a baby to lift weights in the woods creates
A superhero.
rules. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the idea of if this pilot was about a child services worker coming to visit MASH.
I suppose what I'm trying to say is if you find a baby, don't make it lift weights in the woods. Just
Unless it wants to lift weights in the woods,
yeah, well,
Don't deny it its passions.
its body, its choice. Yeah.
Yeah. If
I
it just
suppose.
if it starts housing cream puffs and doing curls, let nature take its course.
You just go with it. It'll be fine. Anyway, it does work out okay for these guys. Have a pretty good relationship where Retro is obviously just horrified by Mash's casual displays of super strength. Also a very affectionate relationship. It's quite nice. But he does say, whatever you do, don't go into the city. And leaves. And then Mash immediately goes into the city.
Now, I want to pause real quick, and before we go too far in, you touched on they have a really nice relationship. They do, and that's why, sadly, I don't know if it's anime or Disney training, but I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
That old man's gonna die. You can't have this positive of a father figure living in an anime. Get the fuck out of here.
No, but I suppose it's kind of, in this case, it's amusing that this nice old man raises this impassive monster human. But yeah, I mean, like I say, they've got a nice relationship, but he asks him to do one thing: not to go into the city. And then Mash immediately stomps into the city on his super powerful train legs.
Teenagers, man.
Yeah, in search of cream puffs. There are worse things, I suppose, for a teenager to go into the city for. But no, this is cream puffs. He wants those sweet, sweet gobbling cream puffs, which he the first thing he does, yeah, he's not very good at being incognito. The first thing he does, he goes to pay for the cream puffs with a handful of coins that he clenches into a ball of twisted metal. Absolutely terrifying the vendor, quite reasonably so.
That's a haggling strategy you don't see often.
No, yeah, yeah, he did get a surprising amount of cream puffs. I think if I was in the vendor's position, I would say to my goblin companion, just give this psychotic boy all of the cream puffs, please. Till he should give him cream puffs till he goes away. It's a solid business strategy at this point. But yeah, the reason, of course, again to reiterate, he can't go into the city is because he's not a magical guy. I think they're all sort of identified by scarring on their cheek.
That seems to be the case. Is they have lines along their face, more lines,
Yeah.
more magic, no lines, no magic.
Yeah, I mean, at least they kind of had the decency not to put it on their forehead. With, like, suspiciously lightning-shaped scars. But, I say decency. I think they probably had a lawyer there who said, like, how much can we take the piss out of Harry Potter without being sued? And I think they landed on cheek scar. Um, yeah, and speaking of, I guess, non-magical people, they do have people to enforce that. We're introduced to our bad guy, Brad Coleman. John
What a
generic
name!
white guy name.
Yeah. Just like as soon as you're like, oh, that guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's the sinister Brad Coleman.
That's the narkiest name I've ever heard. That guy was born snitching.
Yeah, he is sort of head of the magic police, I believe, or some sort of high up position. And as soon as we meet him, he is torturing someone for petty theft. You're not supposed to think this guy is a good guy. Anyway, he goes out, he gets the alert, hunt down this non-magical baby in the city. Uh, and again, Ash being completely sort of because he's just not very good at being incognito or blending in. He's just eating cream pumps, and he bumps into a drunk magic police. Uh, I would say that it's like unfortunate luck, but I don't know. I think he does not care. He's just super into his cream puffs. I think he may have a problem.
I think at a point where where door direction is more suggestion, you just sort of stop caring about bumping into things and
Yeah,
assuming it'll move. If it's a tree, if it's a person, it'll move.
yeah, he's used to going through things, I suppose. Uh, yeah. Anyway, this drunk magic police guy, bit of an asshole. Picked the wrong guy to be an asshole to. I think he says to him something like, "You better respect the uniform," and Mash just rips his uniform off, which I thought was, no, this is a nice little. I like his kind of. He's very calm. He doesn't get angry, but he does sort of know how to instantly humiliate someone, which is good to know. Super strong, has a sense of humor. We're learning about his character.
Now,
Um,
was that an intentional thing? Because he's played so stoic, sometimes you honestly just don't know if he fully doesn't understand.
yeah, I didn't get that actually. It's like I thought either he's got a very cutting sense of humor, or he just, I don't know, just kind of accidentally nuded the guy in public. But
It would be funny if at the end we found out Mash has been fully aware of what he's saying and doing. He's just completely dryly taking the piss out of everyone.
yeah, I want to get back to that because there's a line in this that really sort of underlines how I feel about Mash. But
Go for
yeah,
it.
so Brad, generic name, he comes along. He's about to shut this kid down, but then the mentor comes along. Retro tackles. He's got some moves as well. He tackles Mash, runs him out of the city. Brad summons a magic space bird to track them down. Which is exactly what I do in that situation.
Yeah, it's standard procedure.
Yeah. So here was the line that got me. When Retro takes Mash back to the cottage, he's furious, of course, because he told him not to go into the city. And he's getting mad at him. Then he looks at Mash's completely expressionless face and says, "Oh man, he's really broken up about this." Is he? It seems like. But then again, the guy's raised him from a non-magical baby, so he probably knows more about Mash than I. But I did not see an expression on that boy's face. Uh, but again, they have a nice little, and again, Retro very forgiving of Mash. He says, "Oh, he's probably just at the age where he wants to explore, get out more." Um, but
Yeah, with
being a
every
good dad's
sweet
not
word, it just feels like another nail in the coffin.
You're right, because almost as soon as he says this, like boom, magic police SWAT team just descend on the cottage for the Muggle purge. Um, yeah, and that's when we get the flashback from Retro of how he found Mash. Um, Brad, Brad, Chad
Brad.
police officer, basically just beating the crap out of him, trying to make him talk, tell him where the kid is, and he's flashing back to where he found the baby, and we get this really kind of harrowing moment. But this old man's just having his ribs kicked in,
Oh, he told
and
Mash to
all
run, by the way. We should probably
yeah,
mention that. He told Mash
yeah,
to
he's
flee.
just, yeah. Instead of giving up, he just screams for Mash to run away and to run away. All the while, he's getting booted quite mercilessly. It's that anime thing from going, this is very silly to, oh, I'm watching the brutalization of a tired old man as he uses his last breaths to try and save his son. It's
It's a
good.
turn.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a turn. Um, but then we get of course, the hero moment because Mash doesn't run. He decides to, again, not do as he's told. He's quietly rebellious, I think, Mash. I'm getting that vibe from him. Instead, just beats the shit out of the magic police.
I
One
mean,
with
yeah, it's a very well done like fight scene of them charging up, big powerful spells to throw at him, just casually batting them aside.
well, he goes to that uniform police officer again from early, and again rips his uniform off.
I
Before
forgot about that.
just slapping the shit out of him, not even punching him, just repeatedly slapping him, which was funny. But yeah, he decides to go toe to toe with Brad Magic Cop.
I heard that as Brad Magic Cock, and I feel like that's a way more interesting
Brad Magic.
character.
Yeah, well, we don't know what he gets up to. It's the first episode. We might get there. And he
There's
says,
already been a few
unwisely,
turns.
yeah. Brad says very unwisely, never say this in an anime to anything. You can't even use magic. How are you going to take me down? Shoves a magic attack at him, which Mash completely tanks in just the most casual way possible. He basically, this swirling ball of void energy goes to it, and he just slaps it away. Uh, and yeah, I think he just makes a joke of the whole. He has no respect for magic. He's juggling those void balls. He's dribbling them around the room. He's not a very easily intimidated boy.
Well, and we get a good sense of why.
Yeah.
There's a part that's addressed quickly where we know Mash does a crazy amount of working out. That's established at the top of the episode. When he comes back from the Cream Puff adventure and his dad sends him out to do his workout again, that's when we learn that Mash can actually do his full workout in 42 seconds or something like that if he tries.
Yeah, if he concentrates.
Yeah.
If he's What I did like about it though is he doesn't have. Obviously, he's got mad magical defense because he can just. I think he's nullifying the force of the magic with sheer muscle control. He's got no magical attacks. So when he grabs the wand and Brad's like, "Oh my god, what's going to happen to me now?" He's got the wand. He just fucking throws the wand at him, smashing all his magical defense with a basic physical attack. And I think that's when Brad realizes he's probably not going to win this one.
Yeah,
twice.
it's it's a really it's a great fight. Like, it a good fight tells a story. It sets a tempo, and it kind of gives you an expectation of what you're in for. And that opening fight scene is very good. There's a lot of good fight scenes through the series. It's nicely choreographed and drawn for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it sets the stakes, um, and it sets the humor tone. It also sets what I imagine is going to be the baseline for the entire series. That Mash is set up against impossible magics, which he just obliterates with his gym strength, which I'm looking forward to. This leads to a stalemate where Brad Evil Magic Cop has a plan, sets down an ultimatum. He says you can either join the magic school and try to become what is it,
Visionary.
the divine visionary. It's a position you can win by being good at school, which basically makes you nobility. Which I assume, because he knows where his old man lives, he can just he can use the police resources to chase these people down. It doesn't matter how strong you are, I guess. If you're just continually being exiled, it's probably not going to be a great existence. I guess he assumes that he can use this super powerful youth to win this position of power, which he can then exploit. And Mash, I guess, in typical stoic fashion, is just like, yeah, all right.
Like every obstacle, it just kind of seems like any problem is a situation to be plowed directly through like a door.
He's extremely pragmatic in his approach. Because Retro's saying, his mentor's saying to him, look, this is clearly a trap. This is clearly a Machiavellian scheme by an untrustworthy man. He's just, this will be fun.
Yeah, but what Retro doesn't realize is Mash could beat the shit out of every pro in front of him.
Yeah. Well, I think Mash knows that. Like I said, I don't know how much, like you said, I don't know how aware he is of whether he's just being a dick or whether he's just kind of...
Is he Crocodile Dundee Act 1 or Crocodile Dundee 3?
Yes. Hard to tell at this stage. But there's a line I particularly liked. Retro's like, you can't join this school. It's going to be, it's too hard to do this. And Mash says, my motivation is stronger than anyone's. And Retro says, this isn't about motivation. Now, I'm not an anime expert. I've watched the anime to know that it's always about motivation.
It is always about motivation.
The most motivated individual will win, whether he has any magic or not.
Oh, yeah. It's a superpower in itself. I am curious to see as we go forward in the story if there is some explanation for why Mash is so strong, or if truly just no one in this world lifts and realizes their potential.
Well, he does say earlier on, he's looking at everybody, and there's like a shoe shiner who's using magic to make the brush shine the shoes. And he's thinking to himself, like, you can just do that with your hands, Maybe just these people are so used to to magic, they just kind of. It's like how I stopped using my brain as soon as the internet was available. I guess
it's a Wall-E situation.
Yeah,
they've atrophied from magicking everything.
That explains why wizards are so weak. As soon as they can do anything with magic, they're like, well, I ain't walking anywhere.
I mean, in fairness, would you?
No, I mean that's what happened as soon as I got my driving license.
Oh shit! To the bottom of the road. Fuck, that is. Goddamn. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they never really explained One Punch Man, did they? They just he just started working out.
Not yet. It's still ongoing. I don't know if they will or not. I feel like part of the fun of that character is just, how did you get that strong? I don't know.
5K run every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I do like the anime trope that if you exercise enough, you will get superpowers. Obviously, I'm never going to test that because exercise is horrible. But, I assume it's true. It might be true.
I think they set this up well too, because you see a lot of since the rise of One Punch Man, the overpowered protagonist has become more and more of a featured player, and I
Yeah.
I think it works best when the power they have does not directly help them at their goals. Like, because One Punch Man's goal is to make rent, and he perpetually is hindered by his abilities more than helped by that.
Yeah.
What we see of Mashle is he has to survive in a magic-based world, and he has no magic, but he has something that's different.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like, my thoughts on OP characters. You end up in a kind of like Goku situation where the stakes become so high that eventually you're just fighting God. That's fine, but
Well, I think the trick is
it's a little stale.
to make the OP-ness not relate to the stakes directly. Like, if someone
Yeah.
is the world's best cook in a fishing competition, there might be ways to sprinkle in that knowledge, but it's not a direct one-to-one.
I am looking forward to seeing how that plays out because obviously I know he's going to a kind of the Hogwarts style private school, just something like Easton College. It's very much they've just looked at a map of London and taken some random names. But I do like in anime the fact that they'll just have an entire genre which is there's this weird system that the world is obsessed with. That if you want to succeed socially, you have to master it. And usually it's something like magic or kung fu or psychic abilities.
Or animal
And
fighting.
or animal fighting, or probably fucking in some point. But
Almost certainly.
yeah, almost certainly. Just throwing that one out there. I might Google after this. But yeah, normally it's a case of the kid gets put into a system where they have to compete in that system, and they compete in that system. Whereas in this case, the system's very well established. We're all very familiar with it. It's basically the Harry Potter system. If you're good at magic, you're going to do well. And they've just basically they've taken a character from another anime and just wedged him in. And said, okay, but what if you just punched everyone?
Yeah, what if we put season 1, or Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Goku into Harry Potter? How would he fare?
Yeah. He'd do exactly. I think he'd probably do exactly what MASH is going to do. That's my instinct. I look forward to finding out exactly how chaotic and ridiculous this will get. And also because it's an anime, it's surprisingly dramatic and heartfelt in odd places.
It does. It does. We talked about the tonal shifts, but I think we should probably mention they do them well. I feel like the tonal jumps add to the layer of the story rather than detract. And sometimes it can be like a minus than a plus. But
I gotta admit, in anything outside of kind of Eastern anime, whenever they kind of try that, it just annoys me. It's like in a standard kind of narrative, you sort of got to earn that. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just kind of the nature of the format or the fact that they've been doing it so long they've got it down to a kind of fine science. But yeah, I don't mind that sort of tonal shift.
I agree. Well, that was the pilot for Mashle. Did you have any closing thoughts you wanted to say, Steve?
Well, we didn't mention the cool opening theme tune, standard kind of metal cool opening theme tune, but the closing theme tune, a funky disco song about making cream puffs, which is now in my playlist rotation.
That opening is in my workout rotation. Not gonna lie.
That is a workout. Well, the closing is in my cream puff rotation.
That's a better rotation. That's a better rotation. Oh man, yeah. When I got to this pilot, I was like, fuck, we got a show. I was ready to see how it went, and I think I messaged you that day. I was like, hey buddy, you really need to check this out.
Yeah, I'm glad I did. And like yeast infection, that's something we started in lockdown when we were all going insane. And I was intrigued to sort of get in Bevan's head and find something he actually likes. We have been saying for a while we should do that again. There's lots of cool shows out there. We like watching TV. We like talking shit about TV. So yeah, I'm excited to start this new format with you, Drew.
Yeah. Well, we will be gone again next week. We did warn you that was going to be a thing in July, unfortunately. But we'll be back on the 26th to talk about Mashle episodes 2 and 3 on the second iteration of our Adventure Showdeo test pilot program.
Which
Dio.
gives you plenty of time to watch up to episode 3 yourself. And if you want to chat about it while we're broadcasting, please do. I'll make more of an effort to check the chat next time. Sorry about that.
And then if you're listening to this on the Patreon feed or the RSS podcast feed and wondering what the fuck is Adventure Brodeo and what are you guys talking about, feel free to check out our YouTube channel, Authors and Dragons. On
Yeah.
YouTube, we have an enormous backlog of me and Steve doing streaming stuff.
Yeah, mostly being terrible at video games, sometimes inspiringly terrible now. So, worth your time.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next iteration of Adventure Showdeo. Until then, bye!
Bye.